hold him back up. He can be our starter slide. Hey, Toast.
Say good morning to everybody, Toast. He's
That's
so
how
mad.
I feel like Harrison, like anytime we record first thing in the morning, like, he's used to his little routine. Like I wake up, drink my coffee for 15 minutes, do cardio, and then he goes on his walk. But sometimes he gets the order confused. Like sometimes he gets amnesia and thinks it goes like walk and then coffee cardio. So all morning he's been like, "Oh, let's go for my walk, Mom," and it's like, "No, sir."
Oh, check-in mornings are the best because I literally at this point just lock him out of the room
Yeah.
because he's just relentless with eating and like I can't get my check-in in. And I've sent a few like to Justin with Toast and he's like, "Hey, listen." Like,
Harrison is always like watching too, but fortunately I have like this little like step, so I do it like in my doorway, and then there's a little step down. So fortunately, when he hangs out like right in front of my camera, the step makes him low enough that you can only like cover up my calves, which, as we've covered, is only a benefit.
Your fucking calves. No, I feel like Harrison is like he's like next to the camera, like audience. Like anytime you've like posted, it's so cute. Instead, Toast just like beelines it for the center. Like he gives no fucks. He's like, I'm in the middle of this check-in picture. And Harrison's just like nice and like sits there and goes, "Wow, Mommy, you look so great."
Okay, quarter turn.
Exactly. I'm gonna get him. Have you seen those dog buttons for food? The treats, like you can record it to say like walk and they press it.
Oh.
I'm gonna get one that says quarter turn for you. You press a quarter turn. You throw him a treat. Quarter turn. Throw him a treat.
One thing about Harrison, like, I love him dearly. I don't think he's a dumb dog. I don't think he's like one of those overly smart dogs. He's just one of those dogs that's just like always there and always happy, but like
he's content. Exactly.
Yeah, but there's probably not a lot like going on.
Isn't that kind of nice though? Like
it really
I
is.
wish I could live my life like that.
I know.
If I could just not think, I would be happy.
It's, now that I think about it, it's probably like golden retriever personality, but
yeah, what breed is he?
They said he's like a okay, I think like rescues kind of like make breeds up half the time so that they sound like unique. But that said, like they said he's a Carolina dog, and he does in fact look like a Carolina dog, which is basically just like a blonde looking shepherd. So I've never like tested him or anything, but he's probably just a little bit of everything.
Yeah, my dog in Illinois, they were like, yeah, he's a lab collie mix, and this brat is, and they're like, he's gonna be like 70 pounds. He was 6 years old and like 30 pounds and like short and long with these hound legs. I'm like, you motherfuckers.
Oh, that's right. You showed him to me. He did kind of have short legs, huh?
Yeah. He like, again, like models their owners, like long. I don't have a long body, but short legs and like he just forgot to keep growing.
Yeah. I didn't, hold on. Did I press okay, I sent it to, she'll be here anytime, I'm sure. Perfect. I was like, maybe I wrote the email and forgot to press send. But how you feeling?
I feel like, I think Saturday, Sunday was the first time I was like, oh, I need to lay down a little bit. And I was like a little yesterday, but honestly, like I like looked at Morgan. I was like, you need to remind me to register for the show because I feel like I'm not prepping. Like we need to get the tan. Like we need to like get it together because like I literally have 3 more weekends. Holy shit.
It's crazy.
It's just weird. And I've been so busy. I feel like I haven't been prepping.
That's like the best. I mean, I mentioned that when I was prepping for nationals last year, how busy I was to you. And it's like, it makes it just fly by. And in some ways it's kind of like disappointing because like, then you look back and you're like, oh fuck, where did it all go? But
exactly. So I'm
remember
like I bought a camera because Morgan like expressed interest in like photography and like wanting to just like take pictures. I was like, well, perfect. Like, and I feel like I've taken so many, but like it's never enough. I'm like, man, I wish I took more.
I know. I have like no pictures of.
Yeah, someone was talking about that little pocket, you know, the Osmo Pocket or whatever.
Oh yeah, my training I got one.
I wish I would have bought one. Like the Sony ZVE is cool and it's nice, but it's like too high tech.
Yeah, I want to get one because I want to start doing like, I don't know. Sometimes I see like these people like recording in the gym, and it's as simple as just like,
sorry, ladies.
That's okay.
Hello. Did I
Hello,
flip now?
lady.
Why did I flip? What the hell?
Oh, there you go.
There we go.
What's going on?
Who wants to go first? Big
We were
update.
we were talking about like those gimbals that everyone has for their YouTube.
Those
I wanna,
nice
like-
little pockets.
Yeah, I want to kick my butt and start like.
You should, because
Doing
it follows you.
Yeah.
It's super cool. Like,
Yeah.
I bought a gimbal like attachment for the camera I bought more.
Oh my god, they're so hard to use. Because I got one once thinking like I do marketing for real estate, right? So I was like, oh, I can create like home tour reels with this thing. They are so hard to use. I thought.
No, yeah. Like balancing, like you have to balance the gimbal. And us, like, again, how many people does it take to balance this goddamn gimbal? Oh my god. And then it like overheated, so I thought it was gonna like explode. We're like in the gym just panicking.
Some things
You
like
had one job. We had one job.
Yeah, but it's a hard job. And you know what's funny is like when I was like these kids' age, like getting into I'm not sure if you're wiping your lens or if you left us.
No, I just my phone. Marco.
Okay, well, I'll keep talking because you're still kind of there.
Yeah, keep talking. Hi.
Well, it's just funny because like kids into like the photo and video thing when I was their age, like that was like what we wanted to like do for a living, and now it's just like everyone has a camera and is decent at like editing videos, and it's just like they like learn these skills in school or something. I don't know, but it's cool.
Totally.
Cool. I wish I was better at it, but
yeah, and I just don't have like the mental capacity to like with everything like else, like to like sit in front of a computer and like figure out the editing stuff. Like I used to think that was so cool when I was in high school when I had nothing else to do.
No, I think if I did it, I would just like have like my video guy like handle the edits, just like pay for that. Because otherwise I just see myself like, I feel like I know enough to get hung up on wanting to make it perfect.
Yeah.
Visually, but not like actually being able to get it where I want it. And that'll just like slow me down. You know what I mean?
That's a really good point. I was thinking to myself, like, you know, if once I want to get all the content stuff sorted, I'm just going to get like my own video guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I did like with KJ for like my reels and stuff. I kind of like fell off the wagon just because I go through these phases with social media. Like,
look, let's not even talk about like the fact that, you know, you just having the mental capacity to sit in front with all the technology. In the past, growing up, changing phones used to be such an exciting thing for me. And I think I told you, Jess, I went to Australia and I went to like get myself a new iPhone. And oh my God, like switching iPhones and then after that trying to transfer your shit and then really enter like your bank card and
No, that's panic mode for me. I am like changed. Like I literally have like an autistic meltdown, and Morgan's like, "Bro, are you okay?" I'm like, "No, I'm not. This is awful."
I feel like I'm such an old hat because I've gotten to the point where it's like, you know what? I know enough things. If there's something technology related and I don't know how to do it, I'm gonna just find someone who does because I don't have the time of day.
Yeah. I will pay you here to figure it out for me. I don't want to figure it out.
Yeah. So who wants to go first? We've got Tanya, fresh back from Australia, making exciting moves. We've got Eleni, 4 weeks, closing in on 3 weeks, right?
3.5. Yeah, 3.5. It's been super weird. Ever since you got back from Perth, Tanya, like there's so much random shit that pops up for Perth, and I was like, "Oh, Tanya was just there."
Because I talked to you girls about it, right?
I know, Big Brother's watching. I have a patient of mine. She's a pilot, but she flies elephants from like reserves, like across the world. So she just like flew.
Wow.
She just flew an elephant from somewhere in Eastern Asia down to Australia.
No way.
The most random thing. I was like, no shit, my friend Tanya was there. Did you see her with your elephant?
Cool.
Like, yeah, she ships like random shit. So I'm like, hey, how was your weekend? She's like, well, I shipped an elephant to Perth. Like, what? So that's super cool. How long is that flight?
From where your friend was at to Perth, or for me?
No, for you.
Just 4 to 5 hours. It's
Oh,
not too
that's
bad.
Wow, really?
Yeah,
God, I thought it was
like
like
Asia
10
Pacific is
plus.
relatively near. It's relatively near. That's why I
Damn, that's
think like
awesome.
the only downside that I would say about me wanting to move there is that eventually, whether regardless of where I travel to from Australia, transit is from it's in Singapore. Singapore is like the transit for like a lot of countries.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
God, I think
So
like just because like I feel like with America, like everything feels so far. So like that always blows my mind. Like even like, Europe, you can take a, 2-hour train ride, you're in a different country. Like so
yeah.
it's such a concept. Like if for us, at least like Seattle, like it's like a 9 to 10 hour flight to go to Japan. So it's just
Well, I mean,
wild,
the
like
US is 1
4 hours.
world by itself. Like I know between states,
Yeah.
sometimes it's got a 6 hour difference, and that's wild to
Mhm.
me.
Yeah, our time differences is wonky, and I hate I being in Chicago and being so central. I was literally like maybe an hour away from people, and like checking in with Justin now. Like we're 3 hour difference sometimes, so
Mm-hmm.
it's like which is nice because I'm waking up at 4 or 5 for check-in stuff, and he's it's 8, 9 o'clock, so he's up. Like I'm not having to wait for him to wake up, and it's an advantage to a degree, but still it's just weird.
Mm-hmm.
So
Honestly, go
sorry,
ahead.
Jess. No, I was just gonna say like for me it's no problem. Like Singapore to Perth, it's like same time zone, exactly the same. So
Yeah,
I was
that was really convenient when we recorded when you were there because like if my brain couldn't have figured out any different times. But no, even like when I went home and it was like a 3 hour ahead, like
Yeah.
I know it's only 3 hours, but like I'm not a seasoned traveler. So
Hmm.
like it
you
was
would
good
feel it.
for me to figure out like get back to like a routine because it's like it's just enough that you're either like waking up super early or going to bed like super it's just weird. But
No,
Oh,
I feel like
totally.
with the 3 hour difference, you would still feel it. I think the interestingly, I find that when you travel, the best kind of time zone differences to adjust to would be 12 hours, just a flip. So so in the past, that one time I went to the US when I went to Vegas. What my mom and I did was we flew morning flight Singapore time, and then we reached the United States in the morning your time. So it was the United States morning, and then it made it easy for us to like just go through the day without having to go straight to bed. And then
okay,
when
Huh.
that makes sense.
so when the day starts to get dark, then that's when you kind of get a little bit tired, but also because you've been awake through the
Hmm.
day, so you're kind of like forced to sleep, and then that's how you kind of adjust that body clock to the new time zone. But
So
it's easier that way because it's 12 hours, so okay, switch straight away. Like right now, it's at 9 o'clock for like maybe no wait, now it's like almost 10 for Haley, and then 10 a.m. and then now it's 10 p.m. my time. It just makes the conversion easier. But I find that with the body when it's like, that 7 hour difference, that 6 hour difference, like neither here nor there, then you're just like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, that makes
well,
sense.
that's Vegas is a perfect place to have that time flip with them pumping oxygen in the casinos. You feel like
Oh yeah.
immaculate. You feel amazing. So I just see Tanya like, hangover style rolling through the casinos with her mom. Like, yeah, let's go. This feels
Well, my mom
great.
was having fun at the casinos. It was just a sight for me
It
because
was.
I had never seen so many casinos in my life.
Isn't it It's crazy. Like I just every time I go, because that's like our favorite place. We're not big gamblers or anything, but we go at least like twice a year, and it just always blows my mind. Like I can't believe it. Or like I go down at 6 a.m. to get a coffee, and there's people like Tuesday at 6 a.m. that are sitting at slot machines, like just
Yeah,
hanging out.
yeah.
It's crazy.
Y'all, I don't know if I mentioned this to either of you, but like my ex was like when I say like he had a gambling problem, like I don't mean like
And tiny.
he dabbled in gambling, like he had a gambling problem, like it was no laughing
Addiction.
matter. even if I'm laughing. But out here, there's so many casinos, and a lot of times they'll hold a show in a casino.
Oh,
And
sure.
my very first show was in a casino, and like I realized I hadn't been in one since I like had to like drag his ass out of them. And I was like, oh my God, I think I have a little bit of like deep rooted trauma just being in here right now. So I prefer the shows that aren't in casinos.
My like
Well, I
I
don't blame
color
you
my
though. Gambling is a very big problem when it's an
Yeah.
addiction.
oh yeah. Yeah, my like adopted mother in Illinois, her ex-husband, like tens of thousands of dollars, like burned through it, and like taking credit cards out in the kids' names, like the whole horror story of it.
I lost my entire down payment that I had saved up for a house.
Oh no!
But
Ouch!
I mean, like shit like that. I always look back on and it's like, well, I was pretty fucking dumb to just kind of go along with it. But those situations are always like when you're in them, it's like hard because it's like, what the fuck am I gonna do?
I think we've all been there in our like in any relationship once to kind of like just enable shit. And
dude, totally.
Yeah.
My ex-wife would tell me, because I just like didn't care. I just like would send money. She was like, "Oh, the grocery bill this week was $1,100. Like we had to buy meat," and I was like, "Okay, here's like $550."
Yeah, it's shit that like I look back on and it's like, well,
things you do for love.
What?
Things you do for love.
Yeah, and it's like I'm not the type of person to necessarily like blame anybody, so it's like I take accountability too. But like now that I'm so far removed from it, it's just like, bitch, what were you doing?
What were you doing? Yes, exactly. Like, what were you doing? Like, were you buying Wagyu steak? Like, why was it $100 grocery bill? Like,
but in that moment when they ask, it's like you're not ready for the confrontation, so it's easier to just be like, okay.
No, I think to a certain extent, you're also thinking like, oh, maybe they will see me if I just gave a little bit more.
Yeah. Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh no, but I feel like, and it took some time, it took some therapy, but I don't think I was also a good person in my marriage. Like, it was a two-way street. Like, I was a dick. Like, I know that. Like, I was the most defiant asshole, and I'm such a better and more healthy person with Morgan. And I prepped with both, like, in my marriage and, like, obviously dating Morgan. And my preps are so much better now that I'm this, like, I'm on a healing journey and I'm a healed individual versus trying to prep in that, like, toxic marriage environment with the negativity. Like, it's so different. It's such a different feeling.
Oh yeah, for sure. When I hear like talk to friends about relationships and how we've all had our experiences, as much as it's sometimes it's easy to put the blame all on just one party or just sometimes all the blame on ourselves. It's like when you see friends and they say, okay, I want to have this person who's like a 10 out of 10, but you also got to ask yourself, would a 10 out of 10 want somebody like you? Like, would you have that to, what do you have to offer? And sometimes I find that individuals attract each other based off like the kind of like traumas and problems that you have.
Oh, for sure.
People need to pay attention to. I mean, that's the kind of like reflection that I had for myself over the last couple of years. Just, it's always good to reflect.
Oh, for sure. And, I think especially in this day and age, and I don't know how popular it is by you, Tanya, but I think, and I don't know how people do it with the dating apps. I would struggle really hard. I'm such an organic person, and Morgan and I kind of just organically happened. Same thing. We both were in shit marriages with people who made us feel like shit, and we bonded over the fact that our significant others were not treating us the way we wanted to be treated. But like the forcefulness of like, hey, I'm like human shopping, like online, like I would just have such a hard time with it because as social as I am, like I would just be so awkward. Like, hey, do you like cheese? Like, I bodybuild. I like to lift weights, and that's pretty much it. What about you?
I would say with dating apps, I tell people if you're gonna do it, go into it with no expectations. So but Ian and I found each other on a dating app. So
did you?
Nice.
I met Ian through a dating app. It's just that we had a lot of mutual friends in between, so it helped a lot.
See, that's perfect. Yeah, that's perfect.
But it's more the case that when I tell my friends I don't go into a dating app expecting to find someone, just going to it to meet people and just to make friends, because that's what Ian did. Ian only had a dating app account because his friend created one for him, because he doesn't talk to people, and he doesn't meet anyone, and he doesn't care to either. Like, I
Sounds
went to
like
Perth. I went to Perth in Australia, and I come out having more friends than that man has ever had 7 years down his life. Like, he has no friends.
Again, though, that's so on brand for you. I just picture Tanya going to Perth and being like, "What's up? Here I am."
though, okay, can we get back to relationships and how Morgan is so great for you? Because I
Yeah.
have been like following your stories. Like, you are always going somewhere, and I think like you're a really perfect example of like, it works both ways in a relationship, and just because you're prepping doesn't mean like that other person
Oh,
has to suffer,
hell
because like
yeah.
you've been
Yeah.
traveling a ton, and you're
Yeah.
also like, I mean, the proof is in the pudding. Like, you look absolutely insane. So like,
Yeah. I mean, I like at the end of the day, Morgan is my first priority. Like, I
mhm,
mean, and if we are good, like I'm gonna be good. And that's, I mean, that's I guess a pretty heavy thing to put on a relationship, but at the same time, like just because I'm prepping doesn't mean that her life like has to be miserable. And our first year of dating, I was like, hey, like, I want to try to get my pro card. Like, I want to compete. Like, I know I just moved across the country, like I just had all this traumatic shit happen to me with my divorce. And we just started, but like, hey, like, I want to prep and do this. And she's like, well, if we're going to do this, let's do it. And I think going through the trials and tribulations that time around and like not doing things because I was in prep, I was like, no, like we're gonna do things. Like I'm gonna celebrate you. Like you're my person. You want to show me Washington, so like let's go travel Washington. You want to go away for your birthday. Like I'm gonna make it like it's prep. Like I was gonna bring food no matter what. I just have to do a little bit more cardio, and I'm eating a little less food. Like so, I just really try to keep the focus on doing my best in every sector of life, not just prep.
And
And
I think
that
that's why you do
includes my
so well
relationship.
this time round.
I was gonna
Why
say,
the
and
reason
Yeah,
you do so well.
it looks like you're genuinely like just loving life and having fun. And I think
I
like
yeah,
Mm.
that like, they always say like the calmest athlete wins. And it's like, I just feel like when you've got your personal life like so on point, and you're just like having fun with all of it, like you're not gonna have that like those cortisol spikes, and like have
totally.
have struggled to lose weight. Whereas like you look like you're
Yeah,
just smooth
I
sailing.
mean, and I'll preach it up and down. And like Morgan and I don't have like crazy heavy issues, but we do couples therapy once a month, and then we both do our own individual therapy with the same therapist once a month. So twice a month we're doing therapy, and it's literally just a safe space for us to like hash our shit out. If like I didn't understand the way she said something, like we have a liaison to tell us like, hey, no, like this is what this means. And so things that could potentially blow up don't blow up. They're just squashed.
Hmm.
I like how you're so open about having therapy, because I think a lot of people still
Yeah.
view it like a taboo. I know, I think it's good, and I've gone for it myself. Like maybe the first 2 years when I was bodybuilding, not because I had issues, but because I felt like,
Mhm.
it's just like having a coach, just for life. Like, but
Totally.
having a life coach, because it's sometimes you don't know that you have certain issues until you go and see the therapist. And
Yeah.
then sometimes, and even if you don't have issues, the therapist can. I mean, I went into therapy having that kind of like mentality, because I just wanted to go to the sport having a very good mindset and a viewpoint of things. And I wanted to make sure that there was like someone who knows, to kind of like be able to see if my mindset was healthy or not going to preps and as an athlete. So the therapist sometimes is always good, because they provide you perspectives that could make you a better person.
Oh,
Hmm.
totally. And I mean, I
Mm.
was the person prior to therapy, like I'm a super sensitive person, and I would just shove all of that down because of like college athletics was always technical over emotional. Like you don't show your emotion. Like my last marriage, like I just shoved everything down, and like there would be a problem, and I would just shut down and not say anything. And carrying that, I mean, I just would turtle. And so I think now like actually like processing like the emotions I'm going through and like the feelings I'm feeling, and even through prep. Like, you know, Tanya, I was telling you last night, and Jessica, I think I've said it to you too, like, I wish I made more progress in 2 years. I definitely did, and I look better, but like I wish my back would have came up more. So I feel a little bit of shame, a little bit of disappointment. Okay, I feel those feelings, process them, and get out. Because at the end of the day, emotions are fleeting. They're not permanent. So process, and the non-productive ones just get out.
That's a thing I always say too. I always say like, oh, it's okay to feel that way, but don't marinate in it. And it's true. Like I think as bodybuilders, like we're always going to feel that way. I think if we have big goals, like there's always going to be some part of us that's just like, oh, I look great, but what about this? Or why are my calves so small? Or I wish my delts would finally grow.
Yeah.
But it's like, you know, I think it's good to be like aware of those things, but it's like if we get held up on minor shit, it's gonna hold us back from excelling in everywhere else that we've grown, you know. So it's like I'm trying to be a lot better about like giving myself credit where it's due. And I think for so long I was afraid to do that because I was afraid it would look like I was too full of myself or thought I was better than I was. But I'm getting to the point where it's just like I don't care what other people think, you know, like if they come to my page and that's the first impression they get, then for one thing, I'm probably doing a bad job of putting myself out there. But for another thing, it's like, okay, well, you see a slice of what's really going on, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And I think too, like as much as the technical over emotional for me is such a double-edged sword, but those technical emotional, like the positive side of it is like you like, I mean, Jessica, your off season, you look awesome. Like you can tell, like, okay, you know, my calves are small, my delts are small, blah, blah, blah. No, your delts are huge now compared to what they were, you know, last time. And the proof is in that technicality of taking those pictures and literally putting them side by side, and you can see like, oh shit, yeah, her upper body has grown.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I would love to hear the pressing, the lying dumbbell press conversation. Because I want you guys to break this shit down for me, because I'm watching it and I'm like hyper fixating. I'm like, okay, elbow slot, okay, this. I love the grip as a hand therapist. I have this conversation with so many powerlifting patients of mine and just general fitness people. They do not realize gripping the dumbbells in a press is important.
And I had a few people respond saying they do the same thing. And it's like, it's one of those things. Well, first, let me say, like, Tanya and I have been trying to figure out how to like do something with this, because like, you know, I consider myself a somewhat advanced.
Just by doing a press alone and gripping it properly, my forearms were burning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe we just go ahead and like get into it on this, and then I'll create like some shorts. But anyway, this whole thing came about because I was having like some elbow issues. And I think I just like have some elbow issues, but so Tanya just gave me some movements to do. And of course I posted my first just regular old flat dumbbell bench press, like how I'd normally do it. And she's like, no. let's rework this. So I went from like, I think my first set just like doing them for fun was like 65s. And then the next week I was like struggling with the 35s because like, you know, I'm just not used to that. Like
how much stability that you actually need just lying down.
Yeah. Like it was a real eye opener. Just like my stability has gone to shit. So I'm going to let Tanya take the floor and explain like how I'm doing the press, but I'm going to explain that like it may seem like I'm obsessing over a flat bench press, but let me tell you, like this has opened the door to me just like paying so much closer attention to my mind muscle connection like across the board, because I have gone so long like trying to be strong and explosive. And I'm grateful for that because it got me to where I am. And I do think like you need to have a decent base of strength. But now I'm at the point where it's like I need to be a little more methodical about like where I'm putting on tissue, you know? So like just like thinking about like flexing the pecs and like leading with my elbows, that has like translated over to like making sure the tension stays in my quads on like a leg press and like movements like that. And you know, what I'm trying to bring up the most are like my quads and my delts. So it may just seem like, why are you obsessing over a bench press? You're a figure girl. You don't even need pecs. But I just know like learning that pattern in a bench press is going to like help my overhead press. And like I said, it really just kind of like tuned me into my body and like what's going on. But anyway,
I think I'm gonna chime in really quickly, because I think that Tanya, like, just working on like that one small, like, it's not small, it's clearly very influential, but I think that's where bodybuilders having someone like Tanya for training is so important for progress. Like, you have your coach, and like your coach can't be doing everything that good and be a good coach and have the volume of clients they have. So having someone like Tanya to go through your training like that, to that like meticulous thing, to realize like that, I think is so important.
And
go ahead, Tanya.
No, I was just gonna say, this is why I actually wanted to bridge the gap for like a lot of prep coaches and athletes. And I'm not saying that all prep coaches are bad with training, but I think this industry has gotten it a little bit mixed up, in the sense that being a really good trainer has got nothing to do with how good of a prep coach you are, and whether you're a prep coach is a separate skill of being a trainer altogether as well. Yeah, because like the job of a trainer is really to help you get the most out of your training program. And the difference between, like, the real scope between a trainer and a physiotherapist or any other therapist for that matter is that we don't treat. We don't do the ultrasounds, we don't do the dry needling, that kind of stuff, because it's not within our scope of practice. But for that matter, if you are very familiar with the biomechanics and just knowing how things move and looking at the way your client is, you should be able to pick out, like, things of what their range is, their exercise selection, so that one way of how this person does their single arm pull down is going to be so different from another person altogether.
And it's really becoming more common. I've seen, like, you see Cam Cheek pairing up with like Nick Gloff. I think Amanda Kohatsu, is that how you say her name? I think she's doing more training programs. Mike Condell, like, I think it's really becoming more common, and competitors are really realizing like it is demanding a lot of your coach. And I don't necessarily think it's what your prep coach signed up for, to like analyze every single one of your training videos. So if your coach isn't providing that much training support, it doesn't mean they're a bad coach, It may mean that
it's really very hard. It's really very, very hard to go through like everyone's training and every single exercise.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
So so the press.
Yeah, sorry.
I'm sorry. I totally distracted us, but
no, I'm so glad you asked, because like we've been trying to figure. I finally, the ones that I posted yesterday are good.
They are. I thought they were.
This morning, I was like, okay, we can finally probably do something with that. But like, we have all these ideas of how to put it out there, but I think we'll just create a little.
Yeah, because we don't know how to mash them up together. Like, how we can, the system and everything. No, I was gonna throw the question to Jess. Did you feel like after you kind of like figured out the dumbbell press, or rather as you were starting to get the hang of it, you started to feel like maybe not just the pec, but you could get your front delts working a little bit better as well when you started doing the press?
Yeah, like the overhead press, shoulder press that I did after felt a lot better.
Granted, so when I started doing like the chest press this way, I actually got like a really good front delt pump. And I'm not saying I press with my delts, but it just teaches you how to fire this entire region up altogether. And that's why when you talked about like the skill of like, just how these things matter, it's just learning how to move one joint at a time in the sequence that it needs to be moving for that movement. Same thing like a leg press. If you are trying to load something for your glutes, the movement, whether it's a leg press or it's a lunge, it should be loading the hip, right? And then you load the hip and you try to fully extend the hip before actually locking up the knees. It's where you're applying pressure and what you're releasing first. If obviously you're going to push with the knees first, then you're going to probably get the quads or get a little bit more knee flexion to get the quads. But for that matter, if let's say you're trying to load the glutes, then yeah, you want to be able to load the hips. Because everyone just explodes. And I think it's good that we get to talk about these things because most competitors think that they know how to train. And I'm not saying that everyone trains bad, but
totally.
a lot of us think that we get it 100%.
Yeah. Well, even like, going back to that chest press, just with my background, and I talk a lot about this with, just people in the gym when we're chatting, or like even at work, again, with my athletes and my fitness patients. Like the positioning matters, like you said, but it's more so not only just the positioning of like the angle of your elbow and like, your humerus in relation to your, shoulder blade and whatever, but it's the true like feeling the lengthening and shortening of the muscles. Like, you can cue someone, and I see trainers in the gym do it. They like try to get their client in the position, but you can just tell they're not using their chest. Like when they're pressing. I'm like, dog, like I want to like go over there and be like, hey, like you're not actually pressing with their chest. Like, so it is a very like, you have to focus. You have to like, hey, you have to think about this. Like, yeah, fine, you've got yourself in the position. You actually have to fire the muscles to get.
Yeah, you kind of have to kind of like also figure out like what their range is, what their lengthened position is.
Yeah. And even too, like, because I see like the pec tears and things like that. And it was like an epidemic when I was in Chicago. Like my hand surgeon tore his pec on his dominant like surgical hand.
Oh, no.
And then like 2 physical therapists did it. And one of them, I had it on film, and you could see the angle that he had his elbow down, and when he was going down, you could just see his scapula tilting, and you're like, yeah, that was gonna happen. Like, and it wasn't with heavy. It was like, I think he had 185 on, and he's a big dude, so like it wasn't that heavy, but it was his positioning. And so what you're also doing here, Tanya, with cues like this, is you're also like preventing traumatic injuries like that, which is huge, because then I don't have to deal with them in the clinic.
And one thing I have to say, like I mentioned this to Tanya last night. So since now that I've been like kind of applying this thought process to a lot of movements, I'm not going to say like I'm nitpicking every single movement. I'd be a liar. But definitely like my delts and quads and stuff. And it's funny because when I watch these videos back, it looks so easy. And then I end the set and I'm like, why did I stop? Like I look like I had like 20 reps left. But it's that feeling, because this happens to me on the leg press too, because I'm trying so hard to keep it in my quads. It's that feeling you get to that hole and it's like you're trying to fire just the pec or fire just the quad rather than just heave ho. And it's like there's nothing there.
And other things are taking over. And helping. And Jess and I sometimes will drive ourselves mad. Like we watch, Sid train or some of these other figure girls, and they're literally have like 25 pounds on each side and they're hip thrusting 25 pounds. Like, are we doing something wrong? And it's like, hey, plot twist, like maybe you actually were. Damn it.
And the other thing is like, I think a lot of people will probably relate to this. I was so afraid to be like humbled at first in that way because like I feel like I've been so proud of like my strength. Like that's like the only thing that I've had going for me for so long. But I gotta be honest with you, I think I finally reached a point where I'm just like, I don't know if I want to be this strong anymore. So it really like it takes a lot of like anxiety out of the equation because like I'm not afraid of 55-pound dumbbells, like if I had to, I could probably do almost double that. It wouldn't be effective as we've learned.
Yeah, so this is what Calvin always says to me. He said like all of us, we're very strong. We want to be strong, we can be strong. But that's why when people see me like deadlifting just maybe 160 total and with the rack. Yeah, like you can laugh at my 160, but I know that I just stopped like at the end because I just can't lift my butt, my hip in the way that would not have me round my tailbone, even just at the starting position when I'm trying to resample and I can't do that. I just know my glutes can't lengthen anymore. You just can't fire. And that's when you know to cut the set. And that's what I was trying to explain to you, Eleni, at the same time. Because if I continue to push it, I could push it and load the lower back. But then that's when my right side, the compression in my lower back, it would present itself in the check-in the next day.
Yeah.
And sometimes you don't you don't see that kind of in those kind of imbalances that you have on your physique from the way you train until you have more muscle, actually, because the more symmetrical you get and the more muscle you have, the more these things actually present itself. And then
Yeah,
obviously with more
exactly.
muscle, there's actually more tension on the joint. So that's actually maybe like how these injuries as well it comes about, because there's just more pulling, there's more tension there.
Oh yeah, I mean, and even too like on tendons, like when we see tendon injuries, like it's these bigger dudes, like, and with, of course, the the stigma behind, oh well, it's steroids, and their muscles are just too big. It's like, no, their muscle, it's
It's
not.
not the
It's
steroids,
literally
yeah.
their loading and their movement patterns. And even like when I do body work on people or I needle people, I'm like, hey, like, I'm releasing this, but if you come back to me and it's pretty much the same and I'm doing the same thing, this is a movement pattern thing, and this is where like you need to change your shit
Yeah.
around. And the one guy I've had so much success with, like this kid is, I mean, he's a kid, like he's younger 20s, he's just a good kid. Like he came with like his left like lat was just so like down all the way to like the origin, like in like his like spine, like tight. And I said, hey, like, what are you doing for training? And he's doing a lot of bilateral movements. And I said, hey, you need to start doing some singular. And he's a kid, he never sent me training videos, but I talked with his coach and said, hey, like, you need to kind of reprogram his stuff, because what he's doing is he's compensating. And so he's continuing to build here, and this is still stuck. And like, yeah, I loosened it up, but like in 2 weeks time it's bound back up. And so he started to actually, oh, what just happened here, he started to actually do that. And it's literally now we're just doing maintenance stuff, because for the past 8 weeks to 12 weeks, however long him and I have been working together, he's taking that feedback and he's changing his movement patterns and his training. You can't just go do body work and then keep moving the way you move, because you're just going to undo it all.
Mm-hmm.
It's true though. This is why, like, all my back movements, because I think I've done so many things in like overhand and semi-pronated kind of
Uh-huh.
position. Because yeah, and then Calvin now, like, he's been sick, like he changed up every single thing with my back training. He said mainly underhand, neutral, basically just trying to unscrew my elbow from basically my shoulder down to be able to do this and lift up this way. Because if I were to do this, you can imagine I'm so jammed up over here this side. That's why I try not to do like overhead pull downs for that matter, and I gotta start with here at least so that I can get this to move. Basically, just get strong in this position a little bit and move a little bit better. Because if I keep continue to do things, even if it's like arm patterns, right? Like arm patterns where I do a tricep push down and my shoulders are a little bit like this, basically this position for any
Uh-huh.
movement. And if I keep doing something in this position, whether it's a bicep curl like this, or it's a row or a press, it's
Yeah.
just gonna get me so strong in this position that anything that requires this is so damn weak.
Well, and the biggest thing,
Yeah.
you think proximal, and you think
Yeah.
about the internal rotation of your shoulder in that position versus being out here, and the implications to back training with not like having, like, again, overtraining internal rotation and then trying to externally rotate in the shoulder like that too. I mean, that's gonna make a huge difference
Yeah.
as well.
So that's why, like, sometimes, like, we have all these imbalances. It's just, when we look at programming, we don't just look at the amount of pushes to rolls kind of ratio, like the number of sets where you push to roll. And usually we see that in figure competitors where you see a lot more rolls to presses, because a lot of us don't need to train chest for that matter.
Mhm.
Um, it's not even yeah, it's like I said, it's not the ratio of the press to the pull. It's sometimes the position that you are in for every single exercise selection, and that requires a lot of that's when you actually maybe need someone else to do that refining for you with the training program to consider these things. And sometimes it's really, really hard for coaches to do that, especially if they're prepping like hundreds of people.
Oh, for sure. Like, Jessica, could you imagine Justin going through like the degree of detail that Tanya does with training with, hundreds of
Well, and
like,
also
he would
like,
never have free time. He would
yeah,
literally
and
never have
also
time to
like
himself.
he he he's still a little. I don't know that like addressing like imbalances would necessarily be his forte, because, I think a lot of us are drawn to him because, like, okay, just get strong and then refine.
Yes.
Which will always be a part of me. And that's where, kind of like how Nick Loff is kind of like a more analytical eye towards like a lot of other people that are with, great prep coaches. Like your prep coach is probably a great coach. He's got a great eye for training, but like hiring someone separately, I think they're kind of more analyzing like how your body moves and maybe taking a deeper dive into like your biomechanics and like ranges of motion. So always something. Did we answer the chest press?
No, we did not.
No,
we haven't answered.
I feel like we didn't really. Should I pull up my video so the viewers know what we're talking about? Not that I'm like a great frame of reference, but
I think you are.
Okay.
I think it is.
That'd be good. Well, I would just give some context how this chest press thing started. I think it became a trend. So I got Jess on it, then I got Sarah started on it, and then now like Simone is curious on it. She just asked me about it earlier just now.
Oh, is she really?
Like, all of us want to get on the chest press game. Like,
yeah,
I'm
literally next. I'm still I'm totally sold. I'm buying.
Well, it started me doing horizontal chest press because when I did my training with Calvin was like, do you know why your front delts are shit? And I was like, why? He said, well, you're not pressing correctly. He said, number one, your overhead flexion needs to improve on the right side.
Sorry, hold on.
No worries. What's going on?
Sorry, hold on. I screwed it up because I'm airdropping this video, so I think it... Okay, now we're probably good.
Oh, okay.
Okay. You might have to start over. I'm sorry. I didn't realize airdropping was going to like goof up the Wi-Fi.
Oh, well, but the thing still says recording though.
Oh, no, it's still recording, but like you were garbled. At least you were for me.
Garbled.
Could you hear her, Eleni?
Yeah.
I could hear her. But that's okay. Start over.
Okay, start over just in case.
Yeah, I'll just start
in case horizontal pressing.
Yeah, well, no, because he was saying like if you don't, the same thing. It goes for rows. If you can't move your shoulder blades in a horizontal position, let's not even talk about some overhead flexion, which makes sense. Because if you can't roll this way and you can't press this way very well, you would probably not be nailing it vertically because of the overhead flexion. Like it's just more complicated of a movement. Okay. So that's why with any like back training, like whether it's rows or presses, he likes to get me to start out with like some sort of horizontal movement, and it might just even be for warm up actually. Because for one, when I do the feet up kind of chest press, eventually all of us would move to like feet down, but feet up, number one, it challenges your stabilizers, and because it challenges your stabilizers, it actually teaches you what it's like to sink your lower back down into the seat and maintain that neutral spine without actually rounding your tailbone. Because let's be real, a lot of us don't actually know how to maintain neutral spine and pulling our lower back in to sort of form that mini hinge position in this lying down position without you wanting to go into posterior pelvic tilt. So it's basically learning how to dissociate your ribs from the head.
That makes total sense. Okay.
Yeah, it's basically learning to pull. Just when you look at this is my lower back. All I'm trying to do is just pull the lower back in away from both the ribs and the hips. So just pulling it in, not rotating, not crunching and rotating your pelvis in, not curling your tailbone, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, and it's not arching your lower back at the same time. So this is a really good way of teaching someone how to maintain that spine position, because once you get that, this is the kind of position that you want to be able to do in your leg press, in your deadlift, and in your rows. That is the exact position that you want, because at the same time your chest is up, your palm handle is up, your sternum is up, but you're not going into excessive lumbar extension or like going into excessive shoulder extension. Because when you press, it should actually be a very neutral kind of shoulder position, not this and not this. It's just
Yep.
this. Yeah. So a lot of us will always like try to overarch our upper back even to get that kind of stretch in any press. Yeah. And that's why I started with like a horizontal press. And once your stabilizers are challenged enough, then that's when you go into maybe like an inclined dumbbell press or your shoulder press. And then you will know how to kind of like hook your hips in and pull your hips away from the equation and just load it up this way. But yeah, anyways, back. So that's the background context to how why we start out with the chest press, because the chest press also gets the front of your ribs here to expand a little bit better, so that you can open up a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
And when your ribs can expand, your shoulder blades can move a lot better as well, which you need in both a row and a press.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that was why I started doing the chest press movement. And anyways, yeah, so going back to this movement, why we load like the triceps first. Your chest function, to make it something that everyone can understand, it's basically moving your arm in. That's the function of the chest. So ideally, you just want to be keeping movement from here. So to keep the movement from here, you gotta definitely leave the elbows first. But locking out the elbows helps to kind of like counter force you wanting to do this, because if you don't lock out the elbows, you're gonna bounce at the top.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So that's mainly like why that is the case, why we do it this way.
And for me, like I feel like that cue of like really leading with the elbows and like locking them out, like that's that final like squeeze of that pec too, whereas like a lot of people kind of like get to the top, and then rather than like going like this, they're going like this, and then their chest caves.
Yeah.
And like keeping it proud and like keeping the tension like on those pecs, like that cue is really what I think.
Yeah.
Like,
well, you see people focus on like horizontal adduction versus like elbow extension, and I mean, like your most stable, your elbow is in its most stable position when it's locked like that.
Like, and it's so not even like a aggressive lock, so which is like, you know, because one thing Tanya's really had to like work with me is like I would just kind of I would still use my pecs, but I'd still kind of like explode right at the bottom. And you can kind of see the first rep I did on this video was almost a little explosive, I think. But like,
one thing about doing the chest press in this position is because when you know how to sink your lower back down, then on the way up, it's almost like you're trying to push your entire body away from the weight. So as the weight goes up, you're like pulling, all the more you pull the lower back down. And that will actually help you to really like extend it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And yeah, the palm pressure thing is so important. Like why a lot of us hold the dumbbells like this way instead of this way, when you really want to stack it with the forearm.
Exactly.
Yeah, you actually really want to stack it, because that way when you come down, you're loading your serratus and your mid track as a support muscle a lot better. And why a lot of us don't do that is because, let's be real, our serratus anterior and our mid back is just weak as a stabilizer.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, 80% of the time. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Most people to make a video.
Stabilizers.
I've wanted to make a video about grip like that for so long, or even like people who like grip the barbell and they're like this versus like that.
Yeah.
And like the implications of that. And I mean, like you said, for stacking the wrist, but also like the base of our thumb, like right here, it's called our CMC joint. The amount of stress and like we're dislocating when we grip like this, we're literally dislocating our CMC joint. Like
maybe
when I see a lot of, sorry, Jess, go ahead.
I was gonna say maybe that's half my problem, because when I do a Smith overhead press, I like to go thumbless. I'll stop.
Oh, no, I do it too. I'm so guilty. I'm just like, know what I mean? I'm like, I'm trashing my CMC joint. Like, I mean, I'm gonna need the joint replacements in both my thumbs because I've dislocated the joints with how I've gripped the barbell.
I didn't know that.
No, honestly, our finger, like the flexibility over here, it's very very important because
Mhm.
I used to be one of those that could grip everything with my back training, even when I do
Mhm.
deadlifts. And then now when I get it and I actually really grip hard and engage the forearms, because a lot of us have very strong extensors, and then the flexors are so weak. Most of the time,
Mhm.
you will hear a lot of people with like elbow issues is because the forearm flexors are just very underutilized. Like
Mm-hmm.
Totally.
if in a deadlift, feet pressure matters. Where you apply the feet pressure, having full feet pressure on your big toe, on your midfoot and the heels, because a lot of us the feet pressure is on the outside. So
Yep.
if full feet pressure matters like this when you do leg movements, why would it not matter with palm pressure as well? Like it makes
Mm-hmm.
total sense. Like you kind of
Totally.
like need to be able to stack and grip hard, because I realized when I did that, my forearm flexors not only came up. Not I'm not talking about growth. I'm talking about strength, because that way I can engage my lower lats a lot better as well.
Mhm.
And I know a lot of people say, "Oh, but I can feel my lower lats when I pull this way." Stretching a big shout out, big news. Stretching a muscle does not mean it's under load. It's a feeling. It's not a load.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's something a lot of people like with the full ROM
Oh my
stuff. It's
God.
like
Like,
Whoa, pull
so,
down.
you know,
good
I
job.
know full range of motion is important, but it's like everyone just follows like Dr. Mike and whoever, and it's like I'm happy for them that they can move in that way, but
Yes.
probably like 85, 90% of the population can't just immediately start moving that way. But they never, for some reason,
Completely.
they never put out content like, hey, you probably can't move like me, so you should maybe start like this instead. And so it's always
Super realistic.
interesting. Yeah, it's so interesting to me that that's become such a trend. Because
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
I think the active range of motion in most muscle groups is probably like, especially with the glutes, is probably like a lot shorter than people realize.
Well, and then you
And
have to look at different like lengths and body types too.
Mm-hmm.
yes.
But go ahead, Tanya.
No, I was just gonna like talk about what you just said. So I know I've watched a couple of YouTube videos, and you would see a lot of people, wide versus narrow clavicles, and of course will affect, like, obviously the size of the rib cage matters as well, because you'll
Hmm.
see a lot of people with wide clavicles struggle with different issues compared to people with narrow. Like it's almost like people with white clavicles. Yes, they get white backs, but sometimes I was told they look like they have white backs only because their teres major is the one that's developed, not always the lat.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. Yeah.
My upper lats are so developed, and it looks like from behind I've got great lats from the front as well. But then
Mm-hmm.
when Calvin trained me, I was like, he was like, dude, your lats are so fucking weak, because
Really?
like I'm so good at pulling this way, because Justin would program a lot of close grip stuff for me, and that's when he told me like he said, right now I don't think you can do anything close grip because it's just getting you so compressed, because I'm just very extended on top. So anything
Hmm.
close grip just doesn't make sense for me. And over time, obviously, I'm saying, if you're a beginner, it takes time for you to work these things out. Just go into the gym and train. But at
Mm-hmm.
some point, you're gonna figure out like a lot of things, like these kind of stuff kind of matter a little bit, because it's going to start affecting, like, your position, your posture and everything, and then I don't need to be more compressed than I already am.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. What's very interesting though, like with the setup and just determining like how you do these movement rights and these movement right. I mean, when I got Sarah to do like this chest press thing and then start to pull in a different way, she was saying, I'm feeling a lot of arms. I was like, well, if you feel your arms, that's great. It just tells me your arms are weak. It's not that we're trying to feel your arms, but your arms are weak.
Yeah.
Because yeah, and that's why, like, I think, when we watch, like, people like Kuba and Mac Train, and Kuba always says this on YouTube. He always says things like, if you do push pull legs the right way, you will not have weak arms. And
Mm-hmm.
now it just makes total sense to me, because it's
Yeah.
not that, because a lot of people say, oh, there's not enough arm volume in push pull legs training, which I guess if you structure the programming a little bit wrongly, then yeah, if you need arms, that could be a problem if you need to bring them up. But for the most part, I can see what he means by, if you're pulling and pressing and doing the push pull legs right and moving the joints the way it should be, and then getting strong in that same sequence, I don't see how a person's arms would not blow up,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
because you
Totally.
need so much bicep and tricep tension to press this way as well, that
Mm-hmm.
the arms should come up with the rest of the body.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel that too.
And I think too, that's what like I love about figure, and I'm obviously kind of going between women's physique and figure, and I'm not saying women's physique isn't that. There's obviously a little bit more freedom with like growth, but like you have to train hard, but you more so have to train smart.
Mm-hmm.
And figure. And that's been kind of my premise, even with like softball in college. Like Insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. Like I work extremely hard, but I first and foremost want to train smart. Like if I'm training, a certain movement pattern with my swing and it's wrong, but I'm training hard, like it's literally null and void. I'm doing worse. And it's kind of the same thing with like figure training, and like you have to train smart. And some of these top pros where, me and Jessica would be sending training videos freaking out at each other, like 25-pound hip thrusts, like they're training smart, and that's why they're the best in the world.
And I do think a very important consideration too is, you look at Nick Walker and Sid and all of these people, like even me, not that I'm in that realm, but like, to my point, we started out training much different, so it's kind of like, not that I'm necessarily big enough, but for all intents and purposes, like my base is there.
Yeah.
Now it's time to be like, figure is a more refined look.
Totally.
So it's time to kind of like refine my training.
Yeah, I think that's what kind of honestly was a little bit of a barrier for me, because when I was training for softball, I mean, we were told to, like, we were lifting, heavies. Like I had girls on my team that were close to, they were squatting almost 500 pounds, like girls. Like, I mean, it was wild. And it wasn't necessarily about the form. It was about, moving the load. Like, it was just literally like moving the load and like pushing our hips. And like, I even go back, because I hit the ball, like if I go do T work for fun, because it's something that's good for me mentally, I hit the ball so much harder and better now. And I always go back and think, like, what if I trained like this and trained a little bit smarter in college with sports performance versus like just moving a load? Because I mean, my strength and conditioning coach was great in college and I learned a lot from him. But at the end of the day, sports performance training is so different from what we do in bodybuilding. And we were just moving loads. And yeah, I got stronger, but like, did I get better? And, I think there's some merit to just training smart.
You know what? I go back and forth on this so much, because like, I don't disagree.
Mm-hmm.
But for me personally, I've joked about this with Tanya. I don't think I'm smart enough to have been able to be so analytical right off the bat. Like, I don't think I would have found joy in it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think
totally.
it truly, but then I see Tanya, and Tanya is so perfect and so analytical, and she has one of the best physiques I've ever seen. So I really kind of, that's like helped change my tune. So I really think a lot of it boils down to how a person learns. And I do not have a numbers brain. I'm not a sciencey person. Like, I joke that I went to art school, not smart school. So I, just kind of got started. Like, I wasn't bad. My form wasn't bad, but there was nothing fancy about it, right? And I do think that was the best progression for me, But there's probably plenty of people that right out the bat, like, they want to know why they're doing something. They want to know the whole backstory. They want to know, like, how to make it as perfect and optimal as possible. And if that's the way you enjoy learning, then, like, have at it.
When Tanya competes in the States, can we go and be like the biggest fangirls in the world?
I hope so.
My God.
This gives me a lot of pressure.
You're totally. I am going to be the biggest Tanya fan and have a shirt with your face on it and just geek the fuck out in the audience.
We decided.
I would appreciate that. I got to see that. But at the same time, I can kind of like I can actually picture her doing that.
Yeah. I'm gonna paint my face. I don't know what I'm gonna paint on my face, but I'm gonna paint my face. I'm gonna be like the sports fan. I'll have like a foam finger.
Oh man, the foam finger.
I don't do anything 50%. It is going to be all out, and Jessica's going to be like, dude,
I'd be there for it. For
I can't
Tanya,
sit
for
by
Tanya,
you.
I'll act a fool.
Perfect. We
I
are
appreciate
absolutely
that,
doing
Jules.
this.
But anyways,
Yeah,
I
you
was
go.
just going to say like Jess is the very. I mean, that's why I like talking to her, because I find that she's a very good combination of like, well, I might have like the technicals, but she's got the kind of skill where she's very intuitive in the very accurate way, and she's got that creative side. You kind of like
Yeah.
need somebody like that to kind of like mash that together, because I am not that kind of person.
No, neither am I.
She's
I am
Tanya's
not
the brains
creative
of
at
this
all.
operation.
No.
I am
I
not
mean,
creative at all.
yeah, like my apartment is literally all Morgan just design. Like
Oh, I live in a bachelor pad. Like I've always been like that. Like when I first move in, like I might want to like make it all cute, but it lasts about 1 week, and then I'm like, man, pillows are expensive. Let me tell you.
Yeah, we got rugs. This is my first place I've lived with rugs.
Yeah.
I'm like telling my friends, I'm like, we bought rugs. They're like, I used to hang up like flags and sports posters. Like I'm not creative.
Like I really want to kind of do something with this office, but the main driving motivation there is just so that like it looks somewhat like a podcast studio behind me.
Yeah, no, I have like there's plants and stuff. Like I could have just gone in and been like, hey, let's put up, a poster of, Jessica Mendoza and a Greek flag, because I'm 100% Greek, and we're good.
You know what? It makes packing easy. It makes moving easy.
Right. When I moved out here, I literally shipped my Jeep out here with like 2 duffel bags of clothes and like 4 cardboard boxes, and like I move in and like Morgan's got her stuff, and like it's just like I'm like, oh my gosh, there's stuff here. There's hella stuff.
But anyway, ladies, I got some cardio to whip out.
This was a good chat.
Too. Yeah,
I'm sorry if I was eating on air. It's just if I don't continue eating, I would not be able to down a pound of rice.
Trust me, I get it. Trust me, I get it.
I'm sorry, Eleni. I know you want a pound of rice right now.
Hey, I'm again. I don't feel like I'm prepping.
I was going to say you've had a lot of high days, haven't you?
Yes, I actually have a little bit of a high day today too.
Oh, really?
It's been like 5 days. Every 5 days I get a high day.
Yeah.
So
yeah. That's what kind of would always just keep me going. Like I might have 0 carbs during the week, but just Jacoby throwing that high day like once a week, once every 10 days. It's like I'm fine.
Yeah.
I think this training staff talk is good though, because eventually I'll be helping.
I agree.
Eleni as well. Then the 3 of us can sit down and just talk about.
I'm stoked.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm super stoked.
I was waiting for them to finally be approved before we like said anything, because I'm sure people are starting to wonder like, why is she so obsessed with her 50-pound bench press?
Well, I think more people are just gonna get curious of like why we're seeing more and more of us do this chest press like that. Because it's the
why is everyone moving in slow motion?
Like gets everyone thinking why the feet are up. Like why is it the feet are up?
Actually, to be honest with you, I'm glad you said that, because I didn't realize that was why my feet were up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Feet up.
Now I'm like, oh, that makes sense.
Well, you could try it with feet down, and trust me, you would feel a difference, because you will realize you don't anchor your spine as well as when you had your feet up.
I was gonna ask, because it is totally like a relation of like your pelvis and like the pull on the spine when you have your feet down versus your feet up. It is a huge difference.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Huge difference.
So.
Yeah. Cool.
All right.
Well,
thank you, lady.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Thanks for joining us.
Yes.
Wait, let's take a picture. Let's take a picture.
Oh, yeah.
Take a picture. Okay, cool. I bought a new phone for $800 in Australia.
Yeah, I was going to say with your new iPhone.
you girls should come here and buy the iPhone in Australian dollar. They're cheaper.
Actually, I was just messing around the other day, and I need to change mine in, because I can actually like save money if I trade it in.
Ooh,
yeah.
Adult things.
What model is yours?
I want to say it's a 14, so I can trade it in for a 16. I don't care to wait for the new.
Yeah.
The 16 Pro is nice.
Yeah, the 16's fine.
Yeah, I'm using the 16 Pro. I traded in my 13 Pro Max for like, and I got back like the full $600.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dope.
Yeah, they're running
Definitely.
some deals, I think, because the 17 is coming out soon, but like I don't want the newest of the new.
No.
Yeah.
Too much.
And I switched
What
my
else do you
Max
need?
to the smaller one because I just found my hands were so small, and I realized that actually the size of it is actually just nice. Like I don't need
Yeah.
big.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, cool. Photo.
All right.
Okay. All right, sweet.
All right. Have a
All right,
lovely
girls.
day.
Enjoy
Happy
your
Tuesday,
day.
guys.
Chat soon. Bye.
All right. Bye.
Bye.